Okay, so obviously Qorantos left, kick or keep, just the other day. Kenko Moore, Kelly Jean, Somniant were all fighting on streams over who was going to replace him, whether the show was going to continue, who was going to be in charge, whether they were going to still be working on it or not. Seems like it's still going forward right now, tentatively. Seems like it's looking okay at the moment. It seems like from what people have said publicly. But who knows? Who knows? It seems like everyone made up eventually. Aside from Q, who obviously is still gone because he has a apparent moral issue with the way Destiny speaks about Muslims on stream. So President Sunday reviewed all of this and then brought Qorantos on, and a bunch of other people piled in to talk about it as well.
I thought you actually had a pretty well-articulated, fairly principled explanation for why you were quitting Keep or Kick, and Kick or Keep, whatever it's called.
Okay, so this is, I don't feel like it was particularly principled or well-articulated. It was just, oh yeah, Destiny seems really not like Muslims. It sounds really vicious in the way he talks about this. Oh, it really sounds like he's dismissive towards the deaths of these people, of these people that are just like me. That's it. It doesn't go. It's not much deeper than that. It wasn't particularly well articulated. It wasn't very principled because it took him till the 11th hour, the 11th month, to actually take the stand.
And I thought J-Slock was being ridiculously obtuse and could barely follow the argument. It was an embarrassing display by him. I have to say, like, I don't know you very well, so you could disappoint me yet, but I've appreciated what I've seen over the course of these last two exchanges.
Thank you. I mean, when it comes to Jay Selick, I think I'll give him some credit, and I'll say that was purposeful. You know, the obtuseness, that was purposeful on his end.
Yo, Eddie, thank you for the gifted. Thank you.
I think he knew where I was coming from. But, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of his streams and the nature of his content. He likes to farm drama. So he thought, hey, this dude just quit the show. Let me have him on and let him fucking spaz out, say some crazy shit, probably trigger Destiny to response and say something crazy. But that didn't happen. Because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to farm anything. I don't think it's that big of a deal that I dropped the show. The reason why I even came out and spoke on it was because I didn't want people to assume that I was let go or, you know, something that was not real or not true. So I told them, hey, I left the show. I left it for 1, 2, 3 reasons, X, Y, Z reasons, and that's it. I heard people say that, you know, I had a prepared hit piece just because I had a couple of clips of Destiny. There was nothing prepared about that. It's just a couple of clips that I saw that really were apparent to me that, okay, me and him just don't see eye to eye on this to the point where I just feel nasty as fuck taking money from him.
Well, if I may, one of the things that struck me, one of the things that struck me about what you were saying about this is, I don't think you even necessarily took issue with his positions, even if he was adamantly callous towards the Palestinian people's plight ultimately. Or maybe that's probably the wrong language. If ultimately he just like had zero sympathy whatsoever for the Palestinians, that itself wouldn't have been a deal breaker for you. That's like an honest opinion he can come to. Your issue seemed to me that he wasn't forming his opinions honestly. He seemed to have a level of contempt for them in particular that struck you as off. Am I reading you right?
Sort of. So I think to clarify,
yeah,
I don't have a problem with him being pro-Israel. Mm-hmm. That's the thing I don't have an issue with. Like, there could be...
So it was super well articulated, but Sunday doesn't know what he was saying. Okay.
A difference of opinion between me and him, and that really, like, it is what it is. At the end of the day, me getting introduced to his stream was through, okay, this guy is anti-Islam, I'm pro-Islam, we debate. So our relationship was never, hey, we see eye to eye on things, let's just be buddy-buddy and talk all the time. No, it was the complete opposite. So him being pro-Israel wasn't surprising to me, and I had no issue with that. The thing that really fucked with me is seeing his coverage, seeing the way that he spoke about Palestinians, seeing the way that he dehumanized them. And that's the thing that fucked me the most. And my understanding, right? And I will admit, I could be wrong, right? I don't believe I am, but I could be. I believe that a lot of his bias, a lot of his hatred, and a lot of the way that he speaks about them comes from the fact that he is incredibly anti-Islam and anti-Muslims. So you can't tell me a man that has, on numerous occasions, come out and said that he hates Muslims, that he hates Islam. You can't tell me that guy could look at this conflict and not be biased. Like, that's impossible.
I'm gonna give you my take on this because I disagree with you a little bit. But it's not J-Stock's take, but it sounds similar on the surface. So let me know what you think of this. My general impression is that he doesn't take this stuff seriously enough to really have like something that rises to the level of hatred of Islam or Muslims. He'll say that sort of offhandedly. Like he'll say like I hate Islam, I'm an atheist, obviously, fuck Muslims, etc. Like he'll say that. But when I hear that, I detect a level of unseriousness. Now I think it's a reasonable inference that he hates those people because if you said that about like Christians, say, or if I said that about Muslims, you could probably expect that I'd be saying that like seriously. I'd expect you'd be saying that seriously. When I hear him say that though, that speaks to my ears at least, just a general kind of a more generalized contempt. So
okay, if this doesn't pick up,
I don't think he has a seething hatred of Muslims. I just think when he sees like
I'm gonna lose it,
like bombed and brutalized and whatnot, I don't think it registers as something of moment or weight to him. I don't think it clicks. Like for me when I see this, I don't see he's rabidly anti-Muslim. I see he just doesn't give a shit about people.
I mean, I'd agree with you if he weren't so sympathetic to the Israelis. I've seen him on numerous occasions.
Yeah, exactly right. Q wants to be like taking this principled stance. Destiny's contempt for Muslims when he says some of this vile shit going, right? It's like, fine, do that. Be edgy. Make all the J jokes you want. but turning around and crying and acting like, oh, bigotry's so bad, isn't it, guys? Come on, bro. Come on.
Occasions talk about the horrific scenes when it involves, Israeli victims. I've seen him show sympathy and compassion towards them. I do agree with you when you say that he's completely unserious when it comes to this. He said, actually, on multiple occasions, he said, I could give a fuck about any of these people. This is just politics to me. I'm covering this because it's the story that's currently ongoing. Everybody's talking about it. Like, yeah, emotionally, he's not invested in either side. But what I'm trying to say is there is bias towards one side more than the other. And that's a fair point to bring up. Now, I'm not saying that he is solely motivated by hatred. I've never said that. I'm not saying that he's solely motivated by hatred.
We're on the same page about that. I understand what you're
saying. Absolutely, I understand, but I'm clarifying just in case people in chat are confused. I'm not saying that he's just solely motivated by hatred to the point where, like, every single time he's talking about the Palestinian side, he's talking about them negatively for the sole reason that they're Muslim, and that's it. No, I'm just saying that there's a certain level of bias that blinds him to the things that's going on to the Palestinians that isn't there when it comes to the Israelis, and that's it. And to me, the biggest issue was the fact that he's looking at these videos of these people getting murdered, of these people just absolutely getting fucked, and the first thing that comes to his mind is talking about, shots and cinematography and angles and acting and farming TikTok clips. Like that, to me, that just is insane. That's why, like that was the straw that broke the camel's back very much. To me, like, okay, people said, oh, he left because his parents. That's the point I want to actually address you right now, real quick. That is the dumbest shit ever.
I do have a question for you, though, just before we carry on that, just pertaining to that, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you wear a ski mask and glasses on stream. Why did you tell your parents you're doing this? You could have gotten off scot-free.
No, my parents. The only thing that my parents ever told me when it comes to my stream is, you care way too much, you need to relax. That is the only thing that they've ever told me. That's it. And for the longest time, I didn't tell my parents, because I was attending university. It was my last year. I didn't want them to think that I'm fucking around, just smart, wasting my time. No, I mean, I just didn't want them to tell me to not stream because I need to focus on my studies. Because back then, like during that year of me streaming, when I was going through my final year of university, I was averaging pretty much 0 viewers.
What do you study?
So it was already a software engineer. Okay. So it was hard enough. It was hard enough keeping motivated to like stream every day. I just didn't want them to know. And then they'd ask me, okay, did you get anywhere with it? And then I'll be like, oh no. And they'd be like, okay, then focus on your studies. Leave the streaming stuff behind it, then do it later. So I didn't tell them. But when I got to the point where I'm actually doing something, and I told them about it, they were nothing but supportive. So my parents, they've known about me doing a show with this guy, with Destiny, right? They've known about this. Not a single time did any of my parents tell me, like, hey, don't drop the show. Never. I was the one who wanted to drop it the whole time.
Yeah, it seemed like it was JStock was introducing that in the equation. I don't think you ever said that you were getting.
And Destiny ran with it as well. Yeah, and Destiny ran with it as well. He said it on his podcast. I guess it's because an attractive lie is way better. An attractive lie is way better.
Okay, this is super boring. This is super boring. This is very dry. Just wasn't my family. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, you are gonna say that. Even if that was the case, you would still say that. Let's skip it a little bit.
Right. Therefore, I'll decide with them. Which one do you think is more likely, in your opinion?
Is it possible that the one feeds into the other? As in, he's willing to adopt stances on things based upon what benefits him more directly. Like, I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I think most people do that, to be honest. But I don't think that's... I think what's more likely is just that he believes that Israel aligns more with him when it comes to his morals, his principles, the way that he views the world, than Palestine does. And that's why he takes this side. And also, again, there is a bias against religious people. And you could say, Israel, the whole thing with Zionism is, this is our holy land, it was given to us by God, But for the most part, when you look at Israel, they don't move based on religion as much as in like other nations.
I'd be a little careful there. I think even in secular Jews, I think I should say secular Zionists, there is that messianic mythic role of the promised land and whatnot plays such a strong role in their identity. I'm
saying how he perceives it. I'm saying how he perceives it, how he sees it. Because there's a lot of secular Jews that don't believe in the religion, don't believe in anything but they still hold the same beliefs as the religious Jews when it comes to the Holy Land, the chosen people, all of that shit. Like they just
kind of the opposite actually. A lot of religious Jews are actually very much opposed to what Israel's doing.
I've seen that's ironic because I have seen those people. But they've been accused of being anti-Semitic. they've been accused of a lot of things. But from what I've seen, so for instance, the people that move.
This is excruciatingly boring. Okay, let's see what happens when Kid Not King comes in.
Did watch it.
Yeah.
What do you think of my takes?
I like them. I agree with them mostly. Yeah, but there were a couple of things that looked like you wanted to ask me though.
There is definitely a couple things I wanted to ask you. Well, the first thing was, what do you think about because I had a take that I think that you'll disagree with about that. I don't think the narrative about like whether or not like Destiny hates Muslim people is like the focal point of the issue. I think it's more about the fact that like he was being edgy and hand waving the deaths of like Palestinian people, and that was apparently the thing that like really upset you. But apparently, like GSCOK ended up making it into a conversation about like, oh well, can you prove that he hates Muslim people? And I felt like that was kind of like a dead end.
No, I agree with you 100%. That's it. Like, because you can't say like, oh, him being disrespectful to Islam is what made you leave, because that is literally how me and him got introduced to each other.
Yeah,
and that's what they go off for like a year, pretty much.
Well, that's one thing that a lot of people have been saying is that like, well, Q and Destiny kind of like started off with these kinds of like the debates about like Islam and whether or not like you criticize Islam is like a violent response against it, or like debating about whether or not like Destiny is like Islamophobic. Like these are like from day one, right?
Yep.
So the biggest response that people have had is like, okay, well, why did it take you this long to decide that that you don't want to do it anymore?
Because that wasn't the like you said, that wasn't the main reason that moved me. Now, obviously, it was a strong reason as well, but it wasn't the main one either. Because usually, if I see somebody that's ignorant about the faith, the first thing that I think about is not, okay, let me not interact with this person. It's let me educate this person. Let me offer points.
Okay, so he's saying that that was a big reason, but it was how he met him, and he still dove into the opportunity to do a show with him, and did it for 11 months. It just seems like so. It just seems like such cope to pretend that this is in no way motivated by the fact the show was almost ending, and that he didn't just, get the bag. It wasn't a little bit cynical. There was no cynical element here. It was purely just, I've got to take a principled stance on this, and it wasn't just, oh well, show's almost over. I can probably step away from this and be fine. I've got my wind out of it.
That he's not aware of, and that's what I've been doing for a year. But when I've seen him talk about the Palestinians, when I've seen him be so flippant, so dismissive, so fucking, I want to mind my words because I just don't want to start shit for no fucking reason. But
no,
it made me feel some type. It made me feel some type of way. It absolutely made me feel some type of way when I've seen how empathetic he was towards the Israeli casualties, right, versus how dismissive he was towards the Palestinians, and how he was.
If it was about the money, why wouldn't he take the last few shows? This doesn't really make sense because he wants to save face with his predominant Muslim community, who have clearly had pressure on him, clearly been saying that they don't like this fucking Destiny guy, all this shit. The people that he actually built up before getting on the show with Destiny, because he hasn't really grown off of the show at all, from what I know.
Bringing up Zionist terms like Pallywood when he was talking about them, and how he was looking at a child being murdered.
Yeah, exactly. He knew the show sucked. His head wasn't in it for ages. He didn't give a fuck. It was coming towards the end. He realized that he was going to be marked with Destiny forever for no gain. So it's like, okay, well, I can burn this, and on my way out, I can save face a bit, and I've already got the payout. So there's no downside.
Murder. The first thing that came to his mind was they're farming TikTok clips. The fuck, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen him talking that way. I was like, there's one thing if you hate religion and you shit talk and we debate about it. There's another thing to where you hate religion to the point that you're comfortable looking at innocent people dying and dismissing it and acting as though it's literally a fucking movie, or as though they're doing this to farm clips. That's the point that I realized I've gone too far into this.
Yeah, and like
Not only that, I'm getting
I agree
paid
with
by
that.
too. Yeah,
I
that's
agree
the
with
worst
that.
part of it. Yeah.
I do agree with it, and I think my big criticism to all the people that have been talking about it is that, like, at the end of the day, like, if something is making you uncomfortable and you decide to leave, like, that's totally on you. But also, I'm not here to like jerk you off about it. The other,
It's not about whether his streaming makes a significant amount of money, is it? He wants it to, and he realizes that he's not going to be able to grow with the people he wants to grow with if he is seen as being like complicit with Zionist propaganda in their view, right?
criticism is that a lot of people will point to some things that you've said in the past or recently and be like, okay, at the same time, pointing out Destiny being like insensitive to the plight of the Palestinian people. It seems like Qorantos is really quick to make Jewish jokes and anti-Semitic jokes and stuff like that. And that, like, a lot of people are going to be pointing to that level of hypocrisy, and that's probably going to be the big thing that you're going to have to like contend with. So, like, do you think that you've been overboard about being anti-Semitic or talking about Jews? Or
that point makes no sense whatsoever, because it would have been hypocritical if I were to say I left the show because Destiny's talking shit about Muslims. That would be that.
Can I ask a quick question?
Wait, hold on. Let me just respond to him, and you can go ask your question.
No, I don't think this is a stupid thing to do. Leaving like this isn't a stupid thing for Qorantos to do. The stupid thing for Qorantos to do was get the opportunity to host the show and then fucking waste it by putting no effort in for a whole year. That was the stupid thing once he's created a shit situation for himself where the show's flopped, essentially. Well, not flopped, but it hasn't taken off to the level that I'm sure Hugh wanted it to, or it possibly could have. Once it's at that point, this is the smart thing to do. Burning it and leaving probably is the smart thing to do.
It was a clarifying question about this in particular, if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't watched you, Qorantos, very much. What kinds of comments are we talking about here?
From what I've seen, and obviously I spent a little bit of time because I got a lot of pushback from my video of a lot of people talking about how you've been anti-Semitic. And at the time, I was like, okay, well, I've never seen anything more than like jokes about Jewish people, and it doesn't seem like different than Destiny making jokes about Jewish people, which he does all the time. But
it is 1,000% not different. 1,000% not different.
I mean, I haven't been able to find like anything like substantially like hyper bigoted or anything.
Because there isn't anything.
At the same time, there was like.
His community pretty much died recently too. He used to have 24/7 active VCs, but now there's almost never anyone in them because some sex pest was let back into the server.
The clips that I saw was like you were reacting to the Anything Else podcast, and Dan came on.
Oh
the
yeah,
stage
when
and
it
he
comes
played
to
some, like,
when it
Jewish,
comes to
song in the
Daniel, when it
background.
comes no, hold on. When it comes to Daniel, founder of Tiny Chat, right? That guy, listen. He's the only guy that I will purposefully make fucking Jew jokes towards because it fucking bugs him extremely. When I first spoke to that man came at me with nothing but condescension, rudeness, and just ego. So then I was like,
Wait,
hold on.
wait, did you say evil? It wasn't that bad.
No, I
watched
said
it.
ego.
Oh, ego. Okay, my bad.
I said, okay. I was like, because I remember, I was like, okay, I mean, this fucking guy is VC. Destiny's VC, right? Everybody's
Gotcha.
edgy as fuck. And then this dude comes at me talking crazy. I was like, let me match the energy of this fucking place. So I hit him with the most basic fucking jokes. I genuinely don't even remember them because if they were anything crazy, I would have committed them to memory. They were basic, but to him, it struck a nerve. I don't know why. It struck a nerve.
I think it was something about like running his pockets or something.
I don't know what it was, but it was something. It is way less than what Destiny says about Muslims or about Christians or about anybody else. Like the most basic jokes. So if those jokes would make me anti-Semitic, then fuck it, I might as well be, to be honest. And honestly, the term anti-Semitic holds no fucking weight these days. Because anybody could be called anti-Semitic. You are a Palestinian pin, you're a fucking anti-Semite that just wants death to all Jews. It's stupid. It's brain dead. It's like it's a weak point. But I'll say this much. Never once did I look at footage of Israeli civilians getting murdered. And the first thing that came to my mind is fucking great acting, boys. This is wonderful cinematography. This is hilarious. Oh my God, they're farming.
But that assumes that it is footage of Palestinians being murdered, doesn't it? But if the footage Destiny was looking at was fake and was obviously fake, if you're looking at it critically, then it would be a perfectly reasonable reaction for him to turn around and go, for him to comment on the cinematography or something like that. But again, that clip that Qorantos showed doesn't give us any indication.
Flips. Never once did I fucking do that. Never.
Well, so you don't, but at the same time, you don't think that like all of the like Jewish jokes and anti-Semitic jokes they're probably going to be biting you in the ass on this. I mean, I think it already is.
I mean, on
if I may, like just for my clarification, is once again, I apologize. When we're talking like anti-Jewish jokes, we're not talking about knock-knock jokes. We're talking about like racial stereotypes, right? Like we're talking about insults, essentially, stuff like that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like money jokes or some shit like that. Like if people are looking at that and thinking, oh my God, this shows hypocrisy, then I genuinely don't know how to argue with those people. Because like I said, my biggest contention with this wasn't the fact that he was making fucking jokes about Muslims. If that were the case, then you know what? Then that would show hypocrisy. But that's not it. It's the fact that he's dehumanizing a certain group of people because I believe that there's a certain price that he holds against them.
Although Qorantos, earlier when you and I were talking before now, you were insistent that the religion and the ethnicity were like this, right?
Yeah, but okay, if I were to make jokes about big fucking noses and like all that stuff, then that's me joking about the ethnicity, right?
Yo, did we get a Chug Conroy drop? Did we get a big Chug Conroy update drop? Is that what I'm seeing here? A 23-page document. Do we switch over? Do we care about that?
If I'm joking about like fucking money and banks and all that type of shit,
well, you can still apply those traits to an ethnicity, right? Just because it's not a biological trait doesn't mean it's not ethnic.
No, but like if I'm making fun of your physical feature, then that's me making fun of the ethnicity pretty much, right? Like, but that's not what I was doing. That's not what I was engaged in. Like I'm just making fun of like, the whole like, and all that type of shit.
Yeah, but like the whole that parody image that you see on like 4chan and whatnot, where it's like the hook-nosed figure, like he's got his hands clenched like this, but he's clenched like this because it's should display greed, right? Like that's the whole idea. Like it's not just the physical characteristics.
It's a bit of a stretch if you're looking at that and thinking to yourself, oh, making a banking joke is equivalent to making fun of their physical features. I think that's a stretch on your end. Right? If you were to say, "Oh my God," like,
wait, hold on. You don't have to just joke.
Why is he He's like twisting himself up in knots, trying to justify just making like being anti-Semitic. I don't understand why. Why not just stand on it? Why not just say, "Yeah, I'm making fun of you"? Like,
about physical features to say something racist. I'm confused.
No. I understand, but when you guys are saying that there's hypocrisy, I'm trying to understand where's the hypocrisy.
Well, I'm not sure we're actually
making banking jokes about Jews is like making crime jokes about blacks. That's what it is. That's the analogy. Or terrorism jokes about Muslims.
Necessarily accusing you of hypocrisy. I think we're just kind of interrogating like what's kind of going on there because it would kind of.
No, I want your opinion. I know you're not, but I'm.
Well, I mean, what you're claiming is that your reason for quitting Kick or Keep and and like cutting ties with Destiny or whatever, and doing that whole stream you did, was because of Destiny's callous attitude towards civilians getting killed. That doesn't necessarily bear on like whether or not like you're being sort of out of bounds, like with like racial remarks or things
With
like
my
that.
jokes.
Steven is.
Yeah.
That's not an
So
issue with
there is-
hypocrisy. I am just like, but the reason why I would kind of like want to know a bit about this is because if, for example, you're on the regular sort of making remarks to the effect of like you know, associating Jewish people with like greed or money or usury or whatever, then I can understand why people might have like an uncharitable make an uncharitable read where it's like, well, you're claiming that, you know, Steven hates Muslims, but you don't seem to have a very bright view of Jews either, right? And so that would be the point of hypocrisy potentially.
That wouldn't be the point of hypocrisy, but that would be the
Andrew, you
point
said
where
it's your
people.
microphone's There we go. I'm back.
Okay, that
How
would
would
be
it
a
not-
point of hypocrisy.
wait.
It would be a point of people maybe not looking at me charitably. You know, like they won't give me enough charity.
No, no. The point is that if that were true, it would be a point of hypocrisy. It's what is this? The complete refusal to accept the possibility that it's true.
Ability to understand where I'm coming from, and that's, you know what, I'm not even going to argue against that. Fair. If you don't want to look at my reasoning in a good light because, oh, this guy makes Jew jokes against certain people. And the funny thing about the whole Jew joke thing is, genuinely, prior to interacting with Destiny, I have never in my life made a single Jew joke, and you could never find it on my stream ever because it never happened. But because I'm in this space where niggas is so comfortable making jokes on my faith, I was like, okay, the road goes both ways. You know what I mean? It goes both ways. Like, you're going to clown me? No problem. I'll clown you a little bit. But when it goes to the point where you see people dying and you don't take that serious, or you don't cover that with the
No,
respect
I
that it
get
deserves,
that, but like,
that's the difference.
Yeah, I get that, but
So
why,
there's
like,
no hypocrisy.
But I still don't know that there actually were people dying in that video.
There's no hypocrisy.
No, but like, I get that. Just as why harass Dan with this stuff just because it bothers him? Like that would seem to me like a reason. Like you said so yourself in the JStock conversation.
No.
You
But I
you
stopped.
wouldn't
No,
fuck with someone like this if you didn't hate them,
I stopped, though. I stopped because he came at me crazy in the beginning, right? He came at me crazy. I hit him with one joke, and he fucking crumbled. And then we had a conversation, right? And I told him, actually, you could probably find this on the Late Night with Destiny or like on one of his channels. I told him, yo, Dan, if this bothers you, I promise I'm not going to bring it up. Like, I kept saying it 100 times, but he was so in his feelings. I told him, I'm not going to bring it up. And then eventually, he was like, when he finally calmed down, right? I didn't bring it up. I literally never brought it up. Like, I didn't bother him with it, nothing. So when I looked at his fucking podcast, and this dude is calling me an anti-Semitic cocksucker, I was like, okay, it's funny that he says that because when he hit me up, right, and he put me in a call and he told me, hey, listen, you know, I don't do this online media shit. I like to keep away from the shit that Destiny does, especially when it's interacting with like edgy people like the Nick Fuentes of the world and all that type of shit. It's like, please just don't bring up my name with them. If you believe I was an anti-Semitic cocksucker, there's no way you think I'd honor a request like that. Not only that, there's no way you'd give me a request like that because that would then show your hand. Then that would just give me the power because I know what fucking weak point that you have. Why not fucking like hurt you there?
Okay.
So I don't think
here,
he even believes
maybe to answer that question, like, do you think it might work a little ways towards like cutting the impression that you're an anti-Semite if you didn't make those anti-Semitic remarks?
How do you make anti-Semitic remarks? If you look at jokes and you're like, oh, that's what makes you anti-Semitic, and like the most basic jokes, I'm not an anti-Semite. I've never been.
Well, there's a difference. It's not about like whether or not you're anti-Semitic. It's like the thing is that like one of the biggest pushbacks that you're going to be getting is that like, okay, at the same time you're over here making anti-Semitic jokes. Like that's going to be the big thing that people are going to be pushing back against.
Okay, so we keep repeating the same point. And
yeah, no, but like you think what I'm
like,
saying.
I understand
like,
people are not going to look at me in like the best of light because of it, right? That I understand.
Well, it's not even a matter, if I may, it's not even a matter of it just not being the best of light. Like it's seeing you in a particular way, but justifiably.
This is
you see.
Sure, yeah, I understand, and there's
okay.
There's
Sunday
nothing
pressing.
I could do to combat that other than expose those people
Let's
who I actually am. And that's up to them whether they decide to consume my content or not. Because the last thing I am is a fucking anti-Semite dude. But does that matter to them if I were to tell them I'm not anti-Semitic? No, that won't change their perception.
Well, not if you're making remarks about them like what is it, running their pockets or something, right?
Sunday.
Yeah.
What's being anti-Semitic? What does that mean?
It would mean doing or behaving in a way that negatively targets people of a Semitic description. Is that fair, Kidnakin?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, who fits people of a Semitic prescription? Who's that? Who fits that?
Well, specifically, we mean Jews in this context, but it could be other people.
Is it only Jews, or like the only Semitic people on Earth Jews?
When I say anti-Semitic, I mean anti-Jewish in this context.
Yeah, we're talking. I think
I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm an anti-Jew. Okay, so let's fix our language. So I'm an anti-Jew.
Are you?
And why am I anti-Jew? So why am I? No. Again, based off of your descriptions, right? So I'm an anti-Jew because
like why get hung up on this shit? We use Islamophobic to refer to people who are bigoted towards people from Islamic countries as well, not just necessarily people who are like of the Islamic faith, right? It's not it's not crazy to just accept that this word is used a bit more broadly than maybe the constitutional parts, the bits that make it up would suggest if you broke them down piece by piece.
A few jokes about.
Well, when you say like you were specifically making those jokes at Dan on the grounds that he was bothered by it, and presumably you found out he was bothered by it because you said it first because you knew he was Jewish, like, you know, that's.
No, it's like Q saying this just makes me think he really is anti-Semitic, and he knows he is, because this is the sort of thing that someone would say, like, what do you mean homophobic? What do you mean transphobic? I'm not scared of gay people. I'm not scared of trans people. You know, it's that sort of thing. I'm not scared. Who's scared? Who's scared? It's that. That's what he's.
No. I didn't make those jokes because I knew that's was gonna hurt him. No, he came at me crazy, and I just made the joke, and it really hurt him. I hit a home run on my first fucking attempt, pretty much. It wasn't that I was trying to fucking hurt him. It wasn't that I was trying to, hit a nerve. I just managed to. And when he told me, "Oh my god, this hurts me so bad," like, obviously I'm an unbelieving Jew and none of this matters to me, but it still hurts, I stopped. Which is something that a lot of people are not addressing. Like, nobody's bringing that up. Nobody's bringing up the fact that he had a sick, like, like, he told me a single time, yeah, I don't like these jokes. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. That's it. And I didn't do it towards him until he called me an anti-Semitic cocksucker on his podcast with Destiny. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but then at that point you're doing it to hurt him, right?
Yeah, at that point I'm doing it to.
Okay, so just to be, so you're anti-Jewish, but you got a reason. Is that the statement?
So me saying a joke that I know fucking hurts.
I don't. You don't need to. Well, to be clear, you don't need to hate Jewish people to be anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic can like describe behaviors. As
also,
well,
the jokes are very basic. I'd like to say that this is fueling some sort of hatred towards Jews is a stretch. It's a stretch.
Well, like, what if I
like, oh my god,
for
Jews
example,
control the world.
This is how you know we're in a horrible place. Okay, look at what's happening here. Qorantos has turned on Destiny and vouched spread his support for Palestine, and Sunday is siding against him right now. Sunday is turning on him. How do you fuck it up this badly? How do you fuck it? This is a home run on Sunday's stream. This was a layup.
Joke. Oh my god, that you hate.
Well, like if I was making like, yeah, but if I was making like 49% jokes, right? Like, people would take that as anti-trans as an example. I think it'd be justified, and even if I meant it like purely as just like it's literally just a joke. I would never actually try to hurt you guys. But the activity itself would still be a joke.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not gonna. I understand if people look at the joke and assume that, oh my god, this person's an anti-Semite. Like, I understand where they're coming from. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people that believe, hey man, just because it's a joke, it absolves me of any fucking accountability. No, if you believe that me cracking a couple of jokes at one person makes me an anti-Semite, that is your opinion, and I can't fucking argue your opinion. I'm just here to tell you that I'm not anti-Semitic, and it's up to you whether you believe it or not. Because there's no point in arguing opinion. There's no point in arguing your perception.
No, sure. Well, yeah. I think where we're kind of like, where communication's kind of breaking here is, you're kind of retorting by saying, like, in my mind, like, I'm making these jokes and whatnot, but like, that doesn't mean like I actually have any.
By the way, I barely make those jokes. Let's make it clear.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because we act like.
I mean, he was actually making those jokes the other day. But
my entire stream is a fucking like Sneeko stream where I'm just saying the craziest things over and over again. This is like once in a fucking blue moon type jokes. It's not like I make way more jokes towards African Americans. Nobody's here fucking holding me to this. Oh my god, you're a racist. Like, nobody's calling me a racist.
Okay, but lots of Africans are quite bigoted towards African Americans. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the case that you harbor negative feelings or have beliefs, possibly untrue even beliefs, that portray African Americans in a negative way. No, like, that wouldn't be crazy. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that.
What he's saying, oh my god, you hate black people. Even
the big one is they say there's people saying that they think that you're anti-Semitic, and there's people saying that they think that you're homophobic. I definitely seen you say like homophobic things, but it's not really about the litigation.
And you've definitely seen me say some just things in general. So no, but nobody actually. I think that I was about to say nobody accused me of being gay, but God knows I got that was like 100 times over. But like, so when I make the gay jokes, right, at my expense, like me saying some gay shit that involves me, nobody's saying, oh, this guy's gay as fuck. But like, I make a gay joke. Oh, also, why do people say I'm homophobic? Actually, I don't remember like dissing somebody for being gay. Like, I've spoken to so many trans people on Destiny stream. Never once did I say, okay, dude. Yeah, I do that. I actually do that.
Spoken to so many trans people.
Is that crazy? Like, okay, every once in a while, I make calls.
It's pretty obvious why people
Optimus Prime. Every once in yeah, but again, if you were to take those, to me, homophobia, to me, being anti-Semitic involves genuine
Look, I think
in your heart, like, you hate these people. I generally hold no contempt or hatred towards any gay person, any trans person, or any Jewish person.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter to me. Like,
if I may, let's reel it back in, because the reason why we were pinning this down to begin with is that if you're going to say on the basis of stuff that Destiny has said to a similar effect that he's motivated primarily,
dehumanizing Palestinians.
well, that's one
the
part.
biggest one.
That's the reason why you quit. No, I understand it. That's the reason why you quit. So we're on the same page about that. But if you're going to say that his prejudice towards Israel is on the basis of his hatred towards Muslims, I think you need a bit more than just him being callous towards this particular civilian group, because that could be more generalized. Like it could be, like he could have a prejudice, for example, based on class, could be based on
or
media perception. There you go. Yeah, the fact that like Palestinians are typically trumpeted by lefties and whatnot, right?
I think if we're going to be real, as much as I do think Destiny does have a particular dislike for Muslims and Islam, as most atheists do, as I'll readily admit, you know, I think it's rational to have a particular dislike for that one more than the others. I think that's just a little bit like that makes a lot of sense to me. That makes a lot of sense. Should own it. That makes a lot of sense. But I think that if you're gonna argue that Destiny's position on Israel-Palestine is informed or like dictated by a certain bias, it's probably more likely going to be that all the lefty, commie, populist types, even on the right, populist types, support Palestine, right? That would be probably where I would draw the stronger bias, because that would explain a lot of previous positions as well, right? That maps onto his behavior a lot better than just saying he's a bigot.
I literally said to him in the beginning of the conflict, the only fucking reason, this is what I believed in the beginning of the conflict, I was like, the only reason why you're such a staunch Israeli supporter is because Hassan is on the Palestinian side. And you've seen all of these lefties on Twitter being super pro-Palestine, that you're like, I need to bring some balance to the world of some sorts. I need to fucking be on the Israeli side because so many people on my side of the aisle are pushing so much Palestinian propaganda that I need to start doing that for Israel. In the name of fairness. That's what I told him. I don't believe that the sole reason that I need to stop his coverage of Palestine is so unfavorable is because of his hatred of Muslims, right? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. There's many factors, like you both said, that contribute to it. There's many factors. It's just to me that once I've seen him talk in such a dismissive way about innocent people dying, everything just came into my mind where it's like, okay, there's no way his hatred or his bias against Muslims is not a factor. And I think both of you agree. And that's my opinion. That's how I've seen it. I could be wrong. But at the same time, I'd rather not take money, knowing in my heart that there's some sort of conflict, and in my mind that I'm not seeing things straight, it doesn't feel right to me. I'd rather not take that money anymore than just blindly take it and act as though I've seen nothing. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah,
I couldn't do that. And by the way, plenty of people are saying like this is to look good. The show is going to end in 2 months.
Well,
that's thousands of fucking dollars I could have easily fucking gotten by staying on, like doing 2 episodes, 3 max in 2 months, making thousands of dollars.
Tiny amount.
And then the show ended. Then I fucking make a whole big deal out of this.
Whatever, dude.
And by the way, real quick, like, I'm not poor, I'm not struggling, thank God, like I'm comfortable, but I'm not in a position where I can look at like fucking thousands of dollars and think to myself, you know what, I don't need this money. Hey, this money is irrelevant. But I still decided, no, fuck that. The way every single night and every single morning when I woke up, I felt like shit. I felt like shit because I pretty much was co-signing his takes. That's how I saw it. When I'm doing a show with him and I'm getting paid by him, there's a difference of, okay, we share a platform where he allows me on his fucking stream and we argue, versus I'm getting paid by this man.
If I may, I disagree with that. Like, for example, like in Cooks for Steven, I don't think it's co-signing his takes.
There's a difference between, being in the background, clicking some food, and then sharing a platform where we're on stream.
I think it's kind of worse. He's actually
always on his stream too.
No. It isn't because at the end of the day, I'm on stream with him. I'm exposed to his audience with him. And it's funny because a lot of his people are like, you're the diversity hire. He's using you to protect himself from the Islamophobia.
Yeah, I don't think that's what
I don't believe that there's any truth in it. I don't believe that there's any truth to it. But nobody was ever fucking typing like him. You're just a fucking, this type of hire. So
I don't think that's
I think it's a lot worse. I think it's a lot worse being in the position that I was in, because it really did come across as me like co-signing it.
Like I said, I think that it's fine to feel that way. At the end of the day, it's your decision about like your own ethical quandary or whatever. I think personally speaking, I don't think it was that big of a deal.
Your keychain in chat is spitting. What the fuck? 243 people sitting here watching, but only 43 have liked. Meaning there's about 200, maybe more, maybe who knows, sitting here who have not liked the stream right now, guys. That's pretty crazy. And guys, you can also donate, buy a membership, gift a membership, buy a super chat if you can. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Fine question, because some people have made this accusation a couple times. I've had some problems with it, as you know, of that that you were getting pressure from your family. Did your family talk to you at all about this?
Absolutely
stuff?
Not
until afterwards you went to them and told them about it?
Yeah, I told them about it, but not a single. In fact, if anything,
hey guys, we're fighting eviction here. Okay, open your wallets, open your hearts, open your wallets.
Maybe you should have consulted us about it. Yeah, that's what they told me. But I said, I'm dropping the show. I'm dropping the show. I'm leaving. I made the decision like early morning. I was the only one up. I made the decision myself. I messaged them. I ended the show. I was like, fuck it. I don't want to do this shit anymore.
Do you think that if you told them about what you were doing before you quit, do you think that they would have advocated for you to quit?
They knew about the show.
Oh, but they didn't tell you anything.
Well, I think what's confusing me is that you said like they wish that you had conferred.
Yeah, spoke to them about it because yeah, I was making a lot of fucking money on the show.
Oh, you mean spoke to them about quitting?
Yeah, quitting the show.
So you think they actually would have recommended you not quit?
Satious super chatted $2. Him not
So
liking
it's the opposite of what
stream.
J-Stock was asking.
Thank you for
100%.
$2.
Maybe they would have told me just finish out your fucking contract and leave, or maybe they would have told me, hey, like actually fucking talk to the man. I would have 1000%.
Probably would have been wise, to be honest.
Yeah, but to me, at the end of the day, my parents weren't aware of how I felt going to bed and waking up every single day. So that's the only difference. Like that money wasn't buying me any peace of mind. Yeah, it was helpful when it came to certain things in my life, but I felt like dog shit. That's it. I felt like dog shit. My streaming output completely fucking disappeared come like November, December. Since then, like I barely fucking stream. I've barely done anything. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for me. It's because I was conflicted. And I've said I feel like shit for taking this long to make a decision, but I'm glad that I've made it now instead of 2 months down the road. Now, obviously, financially, it would have made more sense to just take the money and then dip. But that just didn't feel right to me. And I'm not subscribed to this whole notion of, you know what, just fucking sell your soul for the bag. Because when it comes to selling your soul, it isn't really signing a contract with the devil in blood. It's, hey, I'm doing something that I believe isn't morally right. Emphasis on I believe. You guys can agree or disagree. That's up to you. But I believe that it wasn't right, and I keep doing it because of the money. And that's just nasty to me.
Oh, thank you for the $5 Australian. Rude mod crab, thank you.
Rudimute Crab super chatted $3.26. Boy funding Israel.
How Muslim is your audience?
There's a whole bunch. I got a whole bunch of people. I got a few Muslims. I got everybody. I got Christians. I got a lot of Christians. I think I have some atheists too. I have plenty of people.
Not many Jews.
Has
Not many Jews.
your audience ever told you about like you're a hypocrite for taking this Zionist money?
Not very many Jews though.
Now, my audience used to tell me, you take it, the atheist cut money, fucking the satanic money, da. That's about it. But my audience, nothing my audience said would have affected my mindset when it comes to making a decision on the show.
Okay, here's a mean-spirited question. Okay, here's the critical one. So I haven't been aware of you because I haven't like up close. I haven't been watching Kicker Keep or whatever you've been doing for the past few months, but I have been aware of occasionally on like Destiny on Reddit. There will be some posts about you, and some of them seem to suggest, like for example, like there's like a low level of effort going into Kicker Keep shows, or it seems like you're like this one here. It's Kicker Keep sucks because Qorantos is lazy and complacent. Forgive me for just reading that out. Was your in your judgment, was your performance with respect to running Kicker Keep, was that starting to dip?
Oh shit! This is my exit interview.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll say this.
But you're going straight to the Shadowverse after this, or the Dungeon Dimension. What's it called? The Shadow Realm.
I'll say this.
Game, yeah.
I'll say this. I could have kept Kicker Keep going for years if I wanted to. My output was only affected by my mentality. So for the last few weeks, the reason why I haven't been putting out videos or putting out shows is because, again, I mean, some of it was because I was sick.
T super chatted $2. Palestinian territories, Israel, Palestinian territories, Israel, wheelchair symbol, wheelchair symbol, wheelchair symbol.
What does that mean? Well, look, can we... what does that mean? Let's get some political analysis of this statement. What is this? What is this in favor of?
For like a week or two, and some of it was because I genuinely felt disgusted with myself. And honestly, this isn't even necessarily a commentary on Destiny himself. Right? It's me, right? It's just I felt wrong because I've known his takes, I've known his positions, I've known the kind of guy he is. So everything that he's been saying or doing isn't really that surprising. I mean, obviously, how dismissive he was of innocent people dying was disappointing as fuck. But it's not like a total shocker. It's like, oh, the edgiest guy I know said something. Fuck, that's not crazy. But it's just I could have kept the show going comfortably. So if people think, oh, he just ran out of gas, that's why he stopped the show.
Well, I think what I'm kind of getting at with that is it seems some people think it's not just that you ran out of gas, but you ran out of gas and this is starting to wear on you, which would be like a reason why. It's sort of like how sometimes people...
I had a great team. No, never. I had a great team. I had a great group of guys that was working with me.
Wait, there's some I don't know that much about it, but there's some some criticism about the team, the production crew that you have, not getting paid for doing work. Is there any validity to that?
Yeah, they weren't getting paid.
Who?
None of them ever complained to me either. So if there's any criticism, it's coming from the outside. None of them ever sat with me and said, "Hey, Q, you need to start paying us. You need to start dropping big bags on us." None of them ever said that. In fact, when I dropped the show, the only thing they told me is, "We genuinely love doing the show. It's fun. We just love to keep it going because it's just something exciting for them to do once a week."
Oh, so they just volunteer. They never had any issue.
Yeah, no, never.
What did they do exactly? They edited the videos and
no. My editor was the one who edited the videos. He was getting paid.
So what do they do? They just get guests, or?
Yeah, they got guests, and they got guests, They helped write the questions, although I was involved in writing the questions a lot too. But yeah, that's what they did mainly, getting guests,
Oh yeah, so much involvement in the question. I bet that was great. Q's involvement in writing the
writing
questions.
questions, and the poster, the nice posters. I mean, I called them nice. A lot of people called them stuff. I called them sick. And the poster that went out once a week. That's what they did.
I thought they were funny.
Yeah, I like the posters. The posters were the best part.
Okay.
Posters were the best part. The posters
Okay, well,
sucked.
the only
Q.
other criticism that I know about is that some people were saying that, like, you know, in hindsight, looking back at this, it probably would have made more sense if you just like kind of stated your case that you're uncomfortable with this and that, and then leave, and then like just let it be. Right.
I'll tell you why I didn't do that.
Okay.
I don't believe, and maybe this is just me, being uncharitable towards Destiny. I don't believe he would have given a fuck. I believe if I were to sit, like, call him privately, have a fucking 5-10 minute conversation with him about this, I believe he would have gave zero fucks. So I think it's unfair to him if I were to approach the conversation believing that he wouldn't care. So rather than do that, I was like, I'll message him. I'll tell him I'm leaving the show. If he were to ask me, oh shit, why? Obviously, I'll tell him then, because that shows a level of like interest.
Well, I guess yeah, I guess where I would wonder sort of in that direction is like, why wouldn't you tell him like, I'm leaving the show. I strongly disagree with how you've been handling X, Y, and Z. And just a heads up, I'm going to be covering that on stream later if you're curious.
I mean, I told him that I'm leaving.
Yeah. But that could be because you're sick, right? Or because your school's busy.
No. I told him. I told him I'm quitting the show. If I'm sick, I'm telling him. I always used to tell him, hey, we're not doing this week if I'm sick.
Yeah.
Dude, he's such a snake. It's clear what Sunday's saying to you. Saying you should have given him a you should have said to him, I'm quitting the show, and it's because of your takes on it, because of the way you talk about this. It's because I need to take a stance on this. And Q's like, well, I said I was quitting the show. It's like, yeah, you didn't say why. You didn't communicate.
Robosoap super chatted $10. Found you through Chud. Any friend of Chud's is a friend of mine.
Thank you for the $10. Thank you.
I told him I'm leaving the show. That's it. If he wanted a more complex answer, obviously I would have given it to him. He didn't ask.
Well,
I don't believe he necessarily cared that much.
Well, it seems like you were committed to giving a more complex answer, though. I guess the question I'm asking is why wouldn't you give it to him and do the stream?
The only reason
why the sudden left hook?
No, I'll say this. The only reason why I spoke about it on stream is because I didn't want any confusion as towards why I was not on the show anymore. I didn't want any people to assume, oh, he finally got fired, or oh, his fucking words got caught up to find. I just want people to confuse shit.
Yeah, how much time was there between you calling Steven? I don't know the dates exactly. You telling Steven that you're quitting and you doing that stream? Was that the same day?
3 days.
A few days.
3 days.
So, like, just to go back to that though, like, doesn't that risk then him saying something and inferring why you quit in the meantime and adding more confusion in that gap?
We did. No. A, I believe he didn't give a fuck. B, as to why I was leaving the show, he didn't give a fuck as to why I was leaving the show. B, in that 2 to 3 day span, we didn't have the show. And because I believe that he couldn't care less, I believe that he wouldn't go on his stream and talk about it. Oh, guys, you know what just happened? You left the show. Now, obviously, if we were to get to Monday and there's no show, then he would have spoken about it. But there was no reason for him to speak about it in those 2 to 3 days that I didn't speak on it on stream. That's why I wasn't too worried about it. And at the end of the day, I was correct. All of my assumptions were proven. When I told him I'm leaving, he didn't probe as to why. And for the next 2 days, it wasn't something relevant enough for him to speak on.
Yeah.
Which is fine, by the way. I have no problem with it.
The reason why I'm asking, the reason why there would be interest in answers to those questions, is because if somebody, for example, were skeptical of the sincerity of your stated motives initially, right? Like, say, for example, someone were to speculate, maybe Qorantos quit for other reasons and then decided after the fact. Maybe it wasn't premeditated. Maybe decided after the fact. Here's a good justification for it. They're bad mouthing me on the Reddit or whatever. You know, like taking those. To be clear, I don't think you owed. Just as an example, I don't think you. To be clear, I don't think you owed Steven an explanation in that context.
No. I think
but
that's
making
fair.
those.
To say I owed him an explanation.
No, but making those steps would go towards making certain that there's no confusion in between that time. It seemed like that was important to you.
I was told, even by my family, I should have probably spoken to him. Like that. And I guess everybody's in agreement when it comes to that. I should have probably told him and had a conversation with him or whatever. But again, it always goes back to just me believing that it isn't that big of a deal to him. You know, I'm not the type of person that overvalue.
Yeah, even if you don't think it's that big of a deal to him, it's the proper way to carry yourself, is it not? I thought Q would be the sort of guy who would be like would understand that sort of thing. I don't. Maybe I had a better impression of him than I should have. I don't know.
Use my presence in other people's lives. I don't think it's that big of a deal if somebody all of a sudden, doesn't want to talk to me or anything like that. So when I told him that I'm leaving, if he told me why, I would have been wrong. I would have been proven wrong. I would have been like, oh shit, maybe this dude actually cares. So let me tell him why I'm leaving. Maybe in hindsight, you could say you probably should have given him a heads up because at the end of the day, this is a man that, worked alongside you for a year. Like you guys worked together on this shit for a fucking year. That's a long time, So especially for an online show between two people that disagree on pretty much everything, that's a very long time. So yeah, you could say he was entitled to an explanation, but he didn't ask for it. He did not ask for it. He just said, I wish you good luck. I was like, thank you. I'm done. That's it. Only reason I gave people online an explanation is because I didn't want any,
But the
confusion as to why I left. But there is, at the end of the day, there still is. People are like, oh, it's because of family pressure.
Well, it's because the explanation. Well, it's because the explanation isn't like if it was as sober as that, right? I would probably expect it to go something like this. You go like, yeah, we didn't see eye to eye on the Israel-Palestine issue. I didn't like how he was handling it, so that's why. But you went for at some length. I didn't have an issue with this, to be clear. But you went at some length, bringing up clips and criticizing Stephen for very specific things in a very strong way for a while, and you debated multiple people on it afterwards. Like that to me is like that's of a very different tenor than I can't do the show anymore. Thanks for the opportunity, bye-bye, and then him saying good luck. That sounds like you left on amicable terms, whereas what you said afterwards wasn't simply like a clear explanation of why you left. It was also like a borderline hit piece on Stephen afterwards. Justified, in my opinion, but nonetheless.
I wouldn't say it's a hit piece because I was providing context as to the points that I was making. And that context wasn't necessary because of people like Jay Stillick that came in and said, oh, wait, Destiny didn't say 1, 2, and 3 things. But then I provided evidence of him saying 1, 2, and 3 things. The only reason why, and by the way, this hit piece, this masterful hit piece people are talking about is a Twitter link and a YouTube Shorts link. 2 videos that I thought were great representations as to why I decided to not continue the show anymore and to back on my points.
But one of your...
It wasn't like a fucking... like. It
no, I get you. I get you. But one of your points, so just to be clear...
It wasn't a manifesto or whatever the fuck.
One of your points, just to be clear, though, is that Destiny does hate Muslims, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that... Well, he said fuck Muslims. He didn't say he hates Muslims. He says he hates Islam in another clip, but he didn't say he hates Muslims. I think that's a fair inference on your part. I don't agree with it, but I don't think you're unjustified in making that leap. But that still is an attack, right? That's not just talking about why you left. That's talking about why Stephen is bad, and that's why you left.
If the point that you're making is, you know, you are sort of malicious with the way that you announced your departure. Yep. If I truly wanted to, no, I understand what you're trying to say. It's like if you messaged him on Discord and you told him I'm leaving, and you know he was like good luck, and you said thank you, and then you come on stream and now all of a sudden you're playing clips and all of this shit. Look, it seems like
if you were
hold on.
No, I'm just to clarify though, just very quickly before you make your explanation. Like if you were going to say that you were being malicious, if you were going to say that you actually did intend to do Stephen some like reputational harm over the course of doing this, I have no problem with that. I think that's
no, okay. I understand, but that wasn't the case though. That wasn't the case. So to me, if I really was going out for blood, the first thing I would have done is not fucking message him on Discord. I'd hop in his VC, and I would spark a debate about this, and I would send him the clips, and I would push back on it, and I would fucking.
I don't think anyone thinks he was like out for. Oh, sorry. I need to stop saying I don't think anyone thinks. There's a lot of retarded people. I don't think he was ever trying to stoke maximum drama, get maximum blood from Destiny, maximum damage. I think he was just trying to make his allegiance clear while leaving because it hadn't taken off in the way he wanted it to, and he knew that it worked himself into a bit of a corner. We all know Ronde hates Destiny, but he's kind of defending Destiny here.
The whole fucking ordeal out of it, and at the end, like for the climax, I would have said, "Fuck this show! I'm leaving this show," and then I would state all the points that I've just stated. Okay, that's why I left the show, and I stated on my stream. That shit would have fucking been clipped up by every single fucking Twitter page that despises him and hates him. Muslim co-host of Destiny's show decides to leave because Destiny dehumanizes Palestinians. Shit would have fucking got thousands of likes. Who's this guy?
Slow down, cowboy. Slow down, cowboy.
No, but tell me that's not like the. Tell me that's not the easiest way to.
Well, I'm about to. See, because the argument here is that this would be the most business savvy thing to do if that's in fact what your motive was. But I'm going to be real with you. If I was trying to go out and make a splash and turn content out of this, I'd probably do what you did do. I'd give him something. I'd give him a notice saying, "Hey, I'm quitting." I wouldn't tell him why. I'd let that ferment a bit so that people are curious. There's no Qorantos poster for the next Kicker Keep coming up. Maybe he mentions it. Maybe he doesn't, but he did as it happens. And then there are people really interested in what Qorantos is going to say when he goes on stream. And now, floor is yours, and you can surprise them. Now it's not just like, oh, Qorantos is going to do the Cope stream.
Guys, sometimes kind of spitting
Qorantos, whatever, because that's what Steven will do under those circumstances. And then you can make that splash, right? That's what I would do. I do exactly what you did.
So you wouldn't do exactly what I did because you'd wait for Destiny to mention that I canceled or I quit the show, which I didn't wait on him to mention it. I was the one who mentioned it on my stream.
But he did mention it before you did that stream.
No. He mentioned. No, he didn't. He mentioned it after people went from my stream because the title of my stream was "I Quit Kicker Keep." So they went to him and they asked him, "Is it true that?"
Okay, so nobody knew about this. Nobody knew about this until then.
Not a single person. Not a single person knew about it till I mentioned it. Till I went live. Till I spoke on it. So you wouldn't do what I would have done. What you would have done is wait till Monday. You would have waited till Monday, right? You would have waited till the show. I did my stream on like a Friday or a Thursday or a Wednesday, one of those, right? So you would have waited till Monday. You would have waited till he spoke on it. You would have waited till you probably had like 10 people hitting you up in Discord, and then you would have done your stream. And I'll tell you why that wouldn't have succeeded, because the people that would have been viewing you are DGG, because they're the ones that give a fuck about the show. Therefore, you wouldn't have been fucking clipped up, and the people that hate Destiny wouldn't have had the clip reach them whatsoever. But the people that hate Destiny, they watch Destiny. They don't watch the co-host of his fucking show because they don't care about the show, and the only people that care about the show are the viewers. And the viewers wouldn't have fucking clipped it up and put it on Twitter and titled it as Qorantos, Muslim co-host of Destiny show. So that would have 100% been the L way to approach it. The way that I just told you is the best, 1000%. If I really was looking to
scientists in chat.
Well, I feel like if you weren't looking for the shit though, then like you wouldn't make that the title of your stream, right? Whereas just
no, I wanted people to know. No, I wanted people to know.
Oh, no, I just to be clear, once again, like I'm not faulting you for any of this. I'm just saying,
Like-
like it's conceivable that somebody could read this and go like,
Yeah,
bullshit or
but
whatever.
a loser way to farm this. Honestly, that what I'm doing right now is the nastiest way to farm this. It's the worst way to farm this. Yeah, you could accuse me of like, okay, this is still farming it, even though I did say that I wanted to get my reasoning out there. Therefore, that stream where I titled the stream that I'm leaving the show, that was necessary. Like
Destiny rigged, last kick or keep, Ice won. Yeah, I went out in the first round, so it has to have been rigged.
doing something that's necessary versus doing something just for the sake of farming content are two separate things. So I'd say that I haven't really tried to farm this whatsoever. I could have debated James Phillips and said crazy shit. I didn't. That's why he was so mad at me. He was like, oh, this guy's not saying anything. I have to apologize to the people that I left because this guy's not, because he expected me to go crazy. He expected me to say some
I
unhinged
think it's
shit.
pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious that you weren't farming anything. If anything, it's only obvious that JSTOK was farming
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely.
And, like,
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end of the day,
yeah.
like,
Jay
you
Phillips
can circle
right.
around like, oh, well, it could have happened like that. I mean, it happened how it happened. It seemed pretty obvious that you were just talking about the ways that you feel about being uncomfortable about this or that, and it's other people that are spinning narratives and trying to make it something interesting. But at the end of the day, it was just some like a fucking drama farming dumb shit. Doesn't really matter anymore. But also,
Mind you, I was very respectful towards Destiny in the whole ordeal, by the way, because I really felt some type of way about the way that he was talking about those people. Trust me,
that's how it
there is
seems.
a lot of things I wanted to say. There's a lot of things that I wanted to get off my chest, but I didn't. And generally, it was out of respect for the year that we've had, and out of respect for, you know what? Even though we don't see eye to eye, I do feel like this guy, he wasn't. I've met a lot of dicks. God knows I've met a lot of streaming. Like when it comes to streamers, 90% of them are dickheads.
Yep.
I would have put him in that category. I wouldn't. So out of respect for what we've done together, and like our debates are back and forth, I was like, I'm not gonna talk crazy about him. I'm gonna just state my reasons and just move on.
Yeah, and at risk of like
He's been still looping. I won't say looping. It's not looping, right? Because it's still going on. But he has been still talking about this for like a full week.
getting into like a circle jerk, because I don't really like disagree with anything that you're saying, to be honest. But I do know that that Rezi had some questions. I think he hit you up.
Bring him in. Yeah, bring him in.
Or
That's fine.
Reggie's coming in now?
Bring him in. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
Yeah,
No
you were able
problem.
to pull him in Sunday.
Yeah, give me a moment. Am I friends with Reggie?
Am I friends
I,
with Rezi?
I invited him.
Okay.
Whose stream is this now? What is this?
Hey,
There.
how's it going? We're all streaming. Why is Sunday the only one camped up? He's the only one with half a brain in his head for this.
Now I'm coming back on my end.
Content for
Speak,
myself.
nigga. What do you want, Riz? Go ahead.
Okay. I'm here to represent some arguments, Qorantos, because you left your children in a state of absolute disarray, which has caused a lot of damage to happen to them. I think that one thing that was stated by some of the people, such as Kenkomore and whatnot, is that you were still communicating with them, but by not actually going ahead and saying, "Hey, this is how this should go,"
It's really only last 10
that
minutes.
almost caused a lot of harm to them. And I want to know what your thoughts are on that, because I think that's actually something that you could argue that you've done wrong. I think generally you leaving, totally okay with that. We've already talked about most of this before. This specific thing, though, I'm watching through a lot of the rest of what's going on now. Haven't seen the resolution, of course, but yeah, I think that you probably should have done more for them.
I informed them before anybody else. Before going live.
Sunday is fine. This guy's
Yeah,
So
ill.
they had.
This
they
guy
had,
is so
they knew that I was leaving.
retarded. This guy has
The
autism.
server that I created. With, like,
He does.
them
I don't
people
care
that-
if he says his mom got him tested and he doesn't have autism, which he does claim. This guy's autistic. I don't care. I'm diagnosing him. I'm diagnosing him. I know enough.
I didn't.
I've
delete
seen
that. I
enough.
could have been super petty fucking dick,
Yep,
right?
I
I could have
agree.
deleted the server. I could have fucking moved on with my life. Thank you, boys. Bye bye. I'm done. But no, I kept it up, even though I'm not part of the show anymore. Nothing. And I do remember when Destiny used to say, "Yeah, your job's on the line" every other fucking day in the early days of KPT. I do remember him saying, "Listen, provide some unique value that isn't easily replaceable." And I'm gonna stop saying this. And then Kelly Jean came up with the idea, "You should make a Discord." And then I made a Discord. And then this is the unique fucking value thing, whatever. But I'm not exercising the unique value by fucking deleting it once I've left, because I wasn't fired. A, B, I left on my own. C, and this is the biggest reason.
Dog Viper fan.
My guys wanted to keep the show going because they love the show. They think it's fun. They love working
Oh
on it.
no.
And mainly for them, I'm keeping the thing up.
Resi
Like,
Bros,
I haven't
it's
touched the
over.
server. So I haven't really
Resi
left them in the dark.
Bros.
Kelly's leading the show now. Like she's helping.
Best
with the shit.
bros.
So they're doing well. They're
I
doing well. And Kelly's been around when I was there too. So like,
So, I
like it went from me to her.
I understand that, but I think you not explicitly saying, "Hey, this is what you guys should do," because you were the leader of the show. You left a power vacuum that has caused a lot of kind of hasty things.
Stop, Riz. You're milking this. Stop.
Yeah,
It hasn't.
this is
I'm still.
This is
exposed.
literally- no,
I'm
this
still.
is
You're
literally-
trying to find the hard. Listen, I'm so
Yeah, no,
fucking
this is
grounded.
literally. I've been literally being yelled at. I swear to God, if you want me to be the way I am, you know who the fuck I am. I know how I talk to you. There are other people here that I'm trying to be kind of not fucking schizophrenic.
Well, you're respecting them more than me.
No, you can do this shit. We can actually go. We can do.
Yeah, but there's no debate. You're trying to find debate,
There's no
Riz.
debate. There is a debate to say that
No.
you actually have some level of
No.
responsibility in the
No.
organization that you create to go ahead and put
No.
that through, right? So there is some level of you going ahead and having an issue with this. I'm not saying I fully agree with this, but I've been bothered by this person who's too shy to come on stream because she's a fucking idiot, all right, to go ahead and say this stuff. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Why don't I press? And you're just fucking
Hey,
obfuscating.
Resi, very quickly. Resi, knock, knock.
I'm dead.
Boom.
Why? Sunday, did you kick him out?
No.
Did he
What kind of
leave?
host do you take me for?
Wait, so why the fuck did he leave?
I don't know. I think you just intimidated him.
You said knock knock. Now I know that's like a fucking kid joke. Why'd you kick him out? Anyways, to answer his question, those guys are great. I'm still in the production chat. I still
Real
This is the new
Smith
kicker
super
keep.
chatted $5.
Okay.
Did Belly Bin really get the DGG link?
Okay, Smith. Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. They know what
Hey,
they're
you want to pull him back
Thank
in?
you for the
Keith, go ahead.
$5.
Yeah, I'll put them back in.
I just wanted to
Those
do
guys
that.
are great. They've handled it really well. Like, there's nothing I could give those guys, you know? So shout out to them. Shout out to my boys, man. Nobody carries. Okay,
He's right to ask.
Okay.
But honestly, I offer no debate to anybody because there isn't anything to debate about.
Reggie
I'm not
doesn't
saying
come
anything
back.
that's
Okay.
so controversial. That
Well, I guess that's that over. Jesus.